Number 10. Sneaky baby seal. Most of us know seals as cute creatures at the beach or zoo that balance balls on the tips of their nose or eat fish out of the keeper's hands. But we don't usually get to see aquatic animals outside of their natural habitat, and we especially don't often see them in ours. In New Zealand, a very unusual criminal was caught breaking into the house of Claire Christian. But instead of running out of the door in fear like most of us would have, she pulled out a camera and started filming. Much to her delight, she was the victim of a sneaky baby seal's brazen home invasion. The sweet little guy somehow managed to break into her house, lounge around her living room, sit by the fire, and just sit back, making itself at home. When she arrived to find the intruder loitering in her house, the adorable critter tried to hide behind the furniture, almost as if it knew it was up to no good. Nobody knows exactly how the seal broke into her house or where it came from, but after it was done, it wandered out the front door and went back about its business. This would have been the perfect time to have hidden cameras in your house. But sadly, Claire wasn't so prepared with her tech. Apparently, having a baby seal break into your house is just another day in New Zealand. Number 9. Curious lion. In a far less adorable home invasion, an Asiatic lion strolled into a farmer's house in the small Indian village of Gujarat. Asiatic lions are native only in regions of India. This particular homeowner was shocked when he walked in the door and saw a fully grown lion relaxing on his couch. According to the local reports, the lion had just finished eating one of the farmer's buffalo calves before sneaking in through a back door and then taking a bit of a nap. After all, it was late on a Sunday, the perfect time to relax. While it's sad for the calf, it's good for the farmer that the lion had a full stomach. Who knows what would have happened if the big cat's stomach was rumbling? Not knowing what to do and terrified, the farmer ran away to get the forest officials. He had 14 other family members in the house, so he had to act quickly in order to avoid any trouble. When the officials arrived, the lion was still lounging without a care in the world. They had to shoo the big cat out of the house and back into the jungle. It took multiple men and over 2 hours to get the lion out. That's one stubborn cat. Number 8. Invasion of killer bees. While bees are crucial to the natural world, pollinating flowers and helping the ecosystem, they aren't an uncommon fear. Many people see bees and immediately get nervous, thinking that they might get stung. That's with one bee. Imagine the fear and sheer terror an entire swarm could bring. In Texas, an invasion of killer bees almost killed a person's dog and left the owner suffering immense pain from over 80 stings. It happened on a Monday when Austin resident Emily Frank was out on a walk with her dog Dexter. They were strolling near the Onion Creek Greenbelt when out of nowhere a giant swarm of Africanized honeybees came out of the bushes angry with the intent to kill. According to Emily, they mostly went after her dog. At one point, her dog was laying on the ground completely blanketed with bees, a horrific sight for any pet owner. For those who don't know, Africanized honeybees are wildly aggressive and have been known to chase people or other animals down in huge swarms. They can cover a human in just seconds, stinging them to death. They began invading Texas in the 1990s and react violently to any loud noise or vibration that disturbs their hive. Sometimes, even just mowing the lawn can cause a swarm of bees to try and murder you. Just one more thing to worry about in Texas. Poor Dexter ended up being sent to the animal hospital where it took him 3 days to recover. All the bee stings had given him acute liver failure. To be honest, he's lucky he even survived the incident. Plus, Emily herself had to spend some time in the emergency room with a deadly fever and her whole face became swollen from countless bee stings. Number 7. Pianist Bear. Having your home invaded by a bear isn't all that uncommon in Vail, Colorado, but for Katie Hawley, a bear break-in left her with a story unlike any other. Katie had left her kitchen window unlocked and a clever beast managed to slide it open and crawl into her house. But instead of going on a destructive rampage, the bear sat down and simply played the piano. This bear happened to be a secret pianist, and it had apparently broken into Katie's house to practice some new songs. Who knew that when the furry beasts weren't stealing picnic baskets or eating honey, they were making music? It didn't play very well since it mostly just banged on the keys with its huge paws, but it seemed to be having a pretty fun time. And hey, who are we to say he wasn't playing well? It's not like we're skilled pianists. Or bear pianists. The amazing incident was caught on one of Katie's home surveillance cameras. When she first arrived home to find her house in a bit of a mess, she thought she'd been burglarized. But after she checked the surveillance video footage, she saw that the bear had gone into her freezer, stolen a bit of food, hammered out a few musical tunes on a piano, and then got out of there before the authorities arrived. As of right now, the bear has yet to perform any encores, but you can bet we'd buy tickets. Number 6. Rampaging Deer. An elderly woman living in Indiana had her apartment burglarized by a trio of misbehaving deer. The wild animals busted in through her bedroom window, knocking the woman over and leaving her cowering behind her living room couch as the deer rampaged through the apartment, checking out all the rooms, especially the bathroom. The shocked senior citizen, terrified and not knowing what to do, had to crawl to her telephone and phone the police. Luckily, they arrived quickly enough to shield the woman from any harm while herding the deer out of the apartment. According to Sergeant Kevin Gerber, the elderly woman had remained very calm during the entire ordeal, which may be why she walked away without any injuries. As for why the deer invaded her apartment, well, it was probably an accident. Probably. Deer don't usually break into people's homes on purpose or make house calls. It took a bit of work, but the cops did manage to get the deer back outside. At which point they ran off and were never seen again, probably because they were just as scared of the woman as she was of them. Number 5. Sleepy Tiger. In India, after a series of devastating floods in the Assam region, a Royal Bengal tiger was discovered relaxing on somebody's bed. The poor cat had probably broken into a person's house to escape the floods, then fell asleep on the individual's bed. The homeowner wasn't even the one who found the tiger. It was his neighbors who watched the beast wander into the house, and he was lucky too, because they warned him not to go inside. If he had wandered into his house not knowing the tiger was resting in there, he very well may have ended up as lunch. Escaping a flood is hard work after all, and would have helped the tiger build up quite the appetite. The locals were quick to summon the animal officials to deal with the rogue critter. When they arrived at the man's house where the beast was still taking shelter, they tranquilized it and took it to safety. Thankfully, no one was eaten alive or even harmed in the process. The flooding in the Assam region, while displacing thousands of people, had also displaced quite a few wild animals. 95% of the Kaziranga National Park, home to tigers and endangered rhinos, was flooded. It took days for the water to recede, and for much of the wildlife to return to their own homes instead of seeking temporary shelter in a human's. Number 4. Hungry Mountain Lion. A family in Colorado was visited by an unwanted house guest, with this insane home invasion ending in tragic bloodshed. According to Kayla Slaughter, who has an ironic last name considering the situation, she and her roommate returned home at around 10:30 p.m. to find a mountain lion standing in their living room. The lion looked directly at Kayla's roommate and licked its lips. Terrified, the roommate turned and ran, but Kayla stayed behind to take a few pictures of the enormous cat, looking like an oversized kitty lounging on the couch. Yes, instead of finding safety from the wild animal, Kayla took photos. It almost looked like it was annoyed because the roommates had interrupted its TV time, or maybe because they didn't ask permission before snapping pics. But then again, it didn't ask when it broke into their house. Kayla did eventually run away as she and her roommate phoned the police. Shortly after, wildlife officers came and the animal was removed from the apartment. That was when Kayla came across the corpse of Klondike, her cat. Not only had the mountain lion ruined their furniture, it also ate their poor cat. As for where it went after the murder, the officers shooed the fearless predator out the front door. It wandered down the street and back into the wild, where it belongs. Number 3. Elephant Bulldozer. Elephants aren't usually thought of as dangerous creatures. In fact, most of us see them as friendly giants. But reality isn't always what we want it to be. Elephants are actually very dangerous, and many people have lost their lives to the massive beasts. For example, in the small village of Hua Hin, Thailand, an elephant made a surprise appearance by bulldozing its way through the wall of someone's house and sticking its enormous head into their kitchen. The poor woman was lying in bed when she heard the crash. She jumped out of bed, ran into her kitchen, and saw the elephant with its head through her wall, rummaging through her kitchen drawers with its trunk. She assumed the beast was looking for a late-night snack, but hey, who knows? Luckily, elephants aren't typically aggressive unless provoked. This curious guy was probably just hungry. The woman took a few photographs. Without them, it's doubtful anyone would have ever believed this happened. Then she shooed the elephant away and went back to sleep. She's now waiting for the Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation to come through with the money to help compensate for the damages the elephant did to her house. Because, let's be honest, the elephant probably isn't going to pony up any cash for its rude intrusion. They aren't known for being wealthy animals. Number 2. Misbehaved Kangaroo. A group of tourists got the real Australian experience when a misbehaving kangaroo broke into their vacation home. Amazingly, the kangaroo completely ignored the people inside, went straight for the kitchen and helped itself to a jar of Vegemite and a bag of chips. Not the best snack choice combination in our opinion, but hey, each their own. This hilarious home invasion happened near the coast of New South Wales, at the tourists' rental cabin on Murramarang Beach. Even as they tried chasing the large marsupial out of the house, it just kept hopping around and looking for more food. When it finished snacking in the kitchen, it casually made its way to the bedroom, hoping to find more tasty goodness. Believe it or not, this isn't the only incident of its kind. Eastern grey kangaroos are common in this part of Australia. Over 100 of the feisty critters have been spotted loitering all over the beachfront where the rental cabins are located. This is because they've learned that the curious tourists will usually hand out food. When there's not enough food being handed out on the beach, some of the braver kangaroos resort to home invasions and burglary. But you can't help but love them. Number 1. Bees versus penguins. An invading swarm of bees recently massacred nearly 100 penguins in South Africa. The swarm of insects descended on a beach just outside of Cape Town. The poor penguins were actually part of the Simonstown colony. The bees are also part of the local ecosystem, but they live farther from the coast in the national park. It's highly unusual for that many bees to go all the way down to the seashore, and even rarer for them to attack penguins. I mean, who does that? Penguins are so innocent looking and cute. Nobody can say why the bees invaded the penguins' territory. 63 of the flightless birds were found dead on the beach, killed by excessive stinging. Scientists also found fallen bees all over the beach, hundreds of the things. According to David Roberts, a clinical veterinarian with the South African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds, autopsies revealed that the penguins had only been stung on the eyeballs. Ugh! Strange considering how small they are compared to the rest of a penguin's body. It's a pretty small target, and it's one of the weirdest incidents that's ever happened there, and it's left conservationists shocked and confused. David Roberts also went on to say that the penguins are a protected species on the brink of extinction. Having so many die at once because of a rogue swarm of bees is absolutely horrible and definitely not good for their preservation. Hopefully, this kind of thing doesn't happen again. Which one of these insane animal invasions is your favorite? Let us know in the comments section down below. And remember to share your own animal invasion stories. Be sure to hit the subscribe button before you go to help support the channel, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye!